The 2015 Cleveland Cavaliers are still one of the favorites to win the NBA Finals this year, and what's very interesting about this Cavaliers team is, of course, the center of the sports universe, LeBron James, at least here in America. So, the 2015 Cavs versus LeBron's 2011 Miami Heat. They're two teams that were assembled in the Dream Team fashion, the Big Three equation. We wanted to take a look here at TYT Sports and debate whether or not the 2011 Heat are better or worse than the 2015 Cavs. Now, we do know 2011 Heat did lose in epic fashion to Dirk Nowitzki, doing things that we've almost never seen before during an entire playoff stretch and NBA Finals, winning Cuban his championship trophy. But let's take a look at the starters. We want to break this down by starters, and then we'll go to the bench. So if you look in 2011, the most entitled point guard in the universe, Mario Chalmers, Dwyane Wade, LeBron James, Joel Anthony, that should say power forward. I'll make sure to change that. Chris Bosh.
Bosh should be the power forward.
Yeah, Bosh should be the power forward. And then the 2015 Cavs, this was their starting lineup against the Boston Celtics, Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Timothy Mozgov. We're going to throw it to Jeremy first. Which LeBron...
By the way, Mozgov on the new jacket. That's great.
Mozgov. Jeremy, I wanted to ask you first. Which LeBron team was better?
The 2011 Heat team. I know they didn't win the finals, but it's impressive enough that they got there with their first ever season together. You know, that's a lot of new chemistry to deal with and a lot of new roles to figure out. If you go by position, you know, obviously I think Kyrie now much more impressive than Chalmers was in 2011. Chalmers still isn't that great, and Kyrie might be one of the best players in the NBA. So they definitely win it in that sense. Wade, we think back, we forget that Wade was really good for a long time. He won the title in 2006. He was still a dominant power in 2011. He was maybe like a 1B instead of a 2 to LeBron's 1 when he finally went over to Miami in 2011.
I'm happy you mentioned that because that was the exact word I was going to use, was Wade was dominant. Before the wear and tear on his knees and his legs, and he just obviously can't play the minutes he used to, Wade was a top 5 player in the league for a very, very long time.
I mean, he outscored LeBron in the playoffs that year.
Yes, and that was a major
He was the
reason.
Heat's leading scorer. He was great. I mean, we forget that. And then when you compare him to J.R. Smith, obviously J.R. Smith, well, okay. Your first instinct is to laugh at J.R. Smith, and my first instinct is also to laugh at J.R. Smith, but he's done very well in the Cavs.
He's fit into the system.
Yeah, he's probably a great number 5 option. Just don't tell him that, right?
Right. Because for J.R. Smith, again, citing my favorite video in the history of NBA is the J.R. Smith, to score, you need to shoot some more. And you just keep throwing it back to J.R.
You know, beating the Celtics in the first round is not going to mean look, the Game 6 against the Mavericks in 2011. The bench, first of all, you got Joel Anthony starting and playing 11 minutes. Then a bench of Haslam, Eddie House, Mike Miller, and Juwan Howard.
And Jerry Stackhouse.
That
I feel like I have to mention.
Right, but he didn't play much.
It was his 15th year in the league.
It's atrocious, that bench. It's atrocious. It's an F. You know, Haslam technically was the starter, but then moved Joel Anthony to the bench, and you're still at largely an F. By the way, James Jones on both teams.
Mike Miller on both teams.
Mike Miller on both teams, but James Jones less known. But But that said, so that bench is terrible. This Cleveland bench is definitely better. Tristan Thompson is a serious player. Kendrick Perkins, we know, can contribute valuable minutes, especially defensively.
Defensively.
Dellavedova and Shumpert, these are higher quality players than the Heat had on their bench. But that said, 2 of your starters here for the Cavaliers this year are Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, obviously 2 of the star players on the team. And these guys are substandard NBA defensive players. And whereas you take, like, you know, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, better offensive player than Chris Bosh was, at least with the Heat. But Chris Bosh's defensive talents, I think, make him a considerably better player overall right now than Kevin Love. So I don't know. We got to see how these guys do in the playoffs. Doesn't mean they have to win, but we have to see. Like, this is a better. But LeBron, who was a good defensive player in 2011, I think, even though he's 4 years older, is probably a better defensive player.
I think he's a better all-around.
There was a moment, I think it was in Game 2, where I think Isaiah Thomas drives, and he makes contact with LeBron, and LeBron backs up. They could have called a foul, but I think wisely didn't. LeBron was backing away from him, but LeBron swiped the ball away, knocked it. It goes off of Thomas and starts rolling away to LeBron's right. And Love is down court, and LeBron goes after the ball. He's got to take a step and a half to get to it, and he's walking to the ball, and he's looking at Love. And he's making a pass on a loose ball. He didn't even have the ball yet. And then in one motion, scoops it up and feeds Love for a dunk. And, I mean, that guy is as smart a player as the league has had in 15 years. He sees everything. And so I think in many ways he's a less fearsome scorer than he was in 2011, but he might be a better overall player.
I still believe to this day that LeBron, if he wanted to, if he thought that the best move for his team, and we might see it happen in the playoffs this year, if he feels the need that I need to score 45 points this game, distribute a little bit less, and maybe rebound a little bit more, he's going to do that to make his team win. Because I believe LeBron can still go 10 of 12 from the field and get to the line.
I don't think so, because he can't. He's not as consistently as great as and he can't elevate as much.
He's still the best driver the game's ever seen.
He's terrific, but he does not finish quite like he used to. He can't. He's older. It's not. He is like Jordan. His game is changing a little bit, so he stays the best player in the league. And the defense is unbelievable.
I think LeBron can still absolutely do, but Jeremy, please finish.
I think, yeah. I mean, the beginning of the season, he had the lingering, was it knee issues that had him sit out for 2 weeks, right? And there was that whole hoopla of why is he sitting out? What is he doing? He's resting. I mean, since he's come back, he's almost looked like the LeBron of old. He has less explosiveness. He's not in his 20s anymore. He's 30 years old now, finally. But, I mean, if you look at it, he can still do most, if not all of the things that he used to be able to do. And since that's almost everything a basketball player needs to do, it's still just as terrifying. Is his vertical gone down? Absolutely. His legs aren't underneath him quite as much as they were, but he's more skilled than he was in 2011.
We're agreeing. I don't doubt. I'm just saying I don't know that he could score 45 as easily if he chose to, but I think he is a better overall player, and I think he was great then.
Right. I think you see LeBron get into, I think he called it chill mode. Wasn't that a quote that he had a while ago?
Early on the season.
Yeah, I think he does that more than he used to, and so we maybe see that as, oh, he slowed down a little bit. But I think if he needs to turn, I agree with Jason. I think he absolutely can.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. You know, we got to like.
That's why they play the
They don't have to win, but I want to see. I just want to see how this team responds to playing a great, potentially great defensive team in the Bulls in the second round.
Well, you almost know less now since they played 2 games against the under 500 Boston Celtics than you did once the season ended. We don't know anything about the Cavs in the playoffs yet. So
that's right.
It's worth noting.
Ben, as always, I know you're a betting man. $20. I say LeBron goes over 45 one game this series. Not this series. This playoffs. Shake on it. Too easy. Too easy. As always,
yes,
leave your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below. Which LeBron team is better and which LeBron James is better? The 2011 James, the 2015 James? Are we going to see a repeat of what happened in the 2011 finals? Or the LeBron James team?
Not with the Mavericks, we're not.
Not with the Mavericks. I'm just saying, is there going to be a Western Conference team that can come in there and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers? The Cavaliers. Is Cavaliers a thing?
No. Veneers are a thing.
Veneers. Cavaliers. Subscribe.